Chapter 7 is about argument analysis, advanced argument analysis, and it's a continuation of what we did in Chapter 5. So let's begin with a short review of what we did in Chapter 5. In Chapter 5, we did exercise problems about when we see an argument, we try to recognize what its conclusion is and what are the premises and how those premises are related to the conclusion. So we already started in Chapter 5 the question about how to distill an argument. So there we asked the question, what is the conclusion? What is the author's main claim? So the conclusion states your belief. And an argument has the conclusion part and also premise part. And in the premise part, the author states the reasons that the author provides to support her claim or belief. So we have to recognize the conclusion in an argument, and we also have to recognize the premises. How are those reasons then related to each other and ultimately to the conclusion? And we learn the method of drawing a diagram in Chapter 5 to exhibit the structure of an argument. Remember, we distinguished independent and joint support, and they were diagrammed differently. So all those are, there is nothing new about that. And what is new in this chapter, Chapter 7, starts with the section diagramming debates. Okay? We learned how to diagram an argument, but a debate is not an argument. It's more like two arguments. For example, A thinks that an oil import tax would benefit economy, but B disagrees. So that's why they debate. And in debate, each party presents what he or she takes to be the best case, best argument to support their positions. So A provides his or her own reasons to think that why an oil import tax would benefit the economy, and B presents reasons to think that why that is not the case. So goes a debate. Now, how do we draw a debate in a diagram? A's argument, A's reasons are given to support C. That is the same way we did with in Chapter 5. Okay, we use arrow to indicate that these are the reasons that are presented to support C. Now, but B does not think that C is the case. This arrow with the slash mark indicates that B presents an argument against C. Okay? This slash mark indicates that B is presenting an argument against C. In other words, B is presenting an argument to show that C is not the case. Okay? C is not the case. So we indicate that fact by using an arrow with a slash mark. Let's look at a particular example. Now, here is a diagram. What can you make out of it? First, A is presenting an argument to support C. Now, here you can see that A3 is a premise that is presented to support C. Okay? C is true because A3 is the case. And why is A3 true? A1 and A2 are given as independent reasons to support A3. Okay? So here is A's argument. Okay? Now B is attacking A's argument in a number of different ways. Okay? Here there are two ways in which B attacks A's argument. This arrow with the slash mark shows that B1, the premise B1 and B2 jointly support not C. Okay? B1 and B2 are the negative grounds for C. B1 and B2 jointly supports that why C is not the case. Okay? That's what this slash mark means. Okay? Now, what is this B3 is doing here? B3, okay, B3 indicates that, with the slash mark here, indicates that A3 is not the case. Now, what is A3? A3 was your reason your premise to support C. Okay? So, if B3 is an adequate reason to think that A3 is not the case, then one of your premise is not true. Remember the definition of soundness? A sound argument is a valid argument with all true premises, right? So B3 shows that A's argument is not sound. In the textbook, there is this terminology, counter-argument. Counter-argument is an argument that purports to show that the original argument is not sound. Okay? And from the definition of a sound argument, we can distill two different ways to criticize an argument. Or we can distill two different kinds of counter-arguments. Okay? In the previous example, okay, let's read this together. A sound argument is valid argument with all true premises. These two conditions must be satisfied for an argument to be sound. Now, what that means is that we can criticize an argument in two different ways, either by showing not all premises are true, or even if all the premises are true, the conclusion does not follow. Okay? So, which one of these ways B is attacking A's argument? Okay? Let's go back to the previous example. Consider this. B3 purports to show that A3 is not the case. And A3 is what? Is a premise for the conclusion C. So, B3 attacks A's argument by trying to show that one of the premises is not true. That is one good way to attack A's argument. Is this a counter-argument? That is, does this part try to show that the argument is, A's argument is not sound? Well, I don't think so. This part is not trying to show that A's argument is not sound. What this part is doing here in the debate is, this part tries to prove that C is not the case. Okay? Try to prove that the conclusion is false. Is not one of those two ways in which you criticize an argument. Okay? So this part is not a counter argument. Only this part is. Okay? Okay? So in the previous example, we have seen one way to attack an argument. That is the first way. Okay. We can. There are other ways you can criticize an argument like this. That you can try to show that an argument is not valid. Okay. In this course, we will learn techniques to prove that an argument is not valid in the later chapters. Okay, so for today, I want to look at another example of attacking argument in the first way. Okay, presumably. Okay, let's look at this one. Abortion is an issue that is hotly debated in at least some countries. And this is a typical argument against abortion. Okay? There is someone who believes that abortion is morally wrong, or abortion should be prohibited, or should not be allowed, or may argue in this way. Abortion is morally wrong. Why? A fetus is human being. Killing a human being is morally wrong. Abortion is killing a fetus. Okay? So, a fetus is human being. So, killing a fetus is killing a human being. And abortion is killing a fetus. So, abortion is morally wrong. Okay? Now, whenever we confront an argument, we ask, now, since you have learned the concept of soundness and validity, you ask this question: is this argument sound? Now, we also learned that there are two ways in which an argument may cease to be sound. That is, either one of the premises is not true, or the argument is not valid. So you ask yourself, is this a valid argument? That is, if these premises are true, the conclusion is also true? I think so. Okay? This is valid argument. Now, does that mean that this argument is sound? Well, that depends on whether all the premises are true. Okay? Remember that there are two conditions. Okay? And probably it's here that some people may feel uncomfortable, okay? Or may think that this argument is not sound, especially those who argue for abortion. Okay, those who think that abortion is morally permissible thinks that the first premise of this argument is controversial. Okay, a fetus is not yet a human being. Okay, well then what is a human being? Okay, that's the right appropriate question to ask. Okay, so the morality of abortion tends to bring in the issue about what makes something a human being. Okay, what a human being is. Okay, it's a rather metaphysical question about the nature of a human being. Okay, so sometimes the question about morality it depends on, or requires antecedent solution of what is presumably not a metaphysical question, what is at least not a moral question. Okay. Anyway, this is another example of where an argument may not be sound, not because the argument is not valid, but because at least one of the premises is not true, or at least one of the premises is controversial. Okay, so this is an example to illustrate that illustrate the first way an argument may fail to be sound. Okay, these are the main contents of chapter 7, and I will see you later for chapter 8.